Thank you so much, Rola, for being gracious. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to say that it's real an honor and indeed a privilege to be among you here today in this fourth Pluriel Congress on Islam and Human Fraternity. So I will start off my presentation with the following quote from the 2019 Human Fraternity document. The concept of citizenship is based on the equality of rights and duties under which all enjoy justice. It is therefore crucial to establish in our societies the concept of full citizenship and reject the discriminatory use of the term minorities, which engenders feelings of isolation and inferiority. End of quote. Well, this excerpt from the 2019 Human Fraternity document issued by Al-Azhar and the Catholic Church seems impervious to academic critique, as it emphasizes the importance of establishing a full citizenship model that is within societies while rejecting the use of the term minorities in a discriminatory manner. The same values of equality, justice, and full citizenship were upheld in the 2016 Marrakesh Declaration, in which Muslim scholars and intellectuals expressed their unwavering support to the principles of equal rights outlined in the Charter of Medina. The 2012 Al-Azhar statement similarly declared that the concept of citizenship is grounded on the idea that everyone is entitled to justice and has equal responsibilities and rights. These documents were all issued amid recent uprisings and developments across the world and have all contributed in one way or another to a discussion on the necessity of promoting a moral, spiritual Islam and Christianity represented through the values of peace, human fraternity, and protection of legal rights. In this vein, reproblematizing the religious minority question in Morocco becomes particularly pressing, and to engage in a critique of the religious minority concept, my paper aims at redefining the notion of equal citizenship in light of both declarations, the Marrakesh and Abu Dhabi. Both declarations indeed reject the classification of religious minorities as a self-evident category and as a paradigmatic yet the use of coercive mechanisms of social control against such a category renders the initiative to implement the legal framework of both documents rather ambiguous and self-congratulatory. Against the backdrop of systematic exclusion and bias against religious minorities, my presentation is devoted to demonstrating the disruptive techniques of what Fraser 1990 calls counterpublics deployed by misrepresented religious groups to appropriate mainstream public space by shaping new performances of citizenship outside of normative models of citizenship rights and spaces of civic engagement. Throughout my presentation, we will consider the following questions. Does the notion of full citizenship, as evoked in both declarations, offer better perspectives for managing religious pluralism in Morocco? What is the meaning of equal citizenship under the 2011 Constitution? Are the Marrakesh and Abu Dhabi declarations a Muslim call for protecting religious minorities or a call for freedom of religion? And last but not least, what role has social media played in mobilizing emerging religious subcultures in shaping new acts of citizenship? Well, the experience of democratization in the aftermath of the Arab Spring in Morocco has resulted in the emergence of different forms of social and religious expression and the construction of a more individualized, diverse religious sphere that exists both outside the realm of state-controlled institutional and political Islam. Since the May 2003 terrorist attacks in Casablanca, the religious field in Morocco has been kept under firm control by the state. A panoply of security measures in this respect have been adopted by the Moroccan government to fight extremism and promote a moderate version of Islam which advocates peace and religious tolerance. One of the major steps in reforming the religious field then included an upgrading of the Ministry of Islamic Affairs religious programs, which emphasized the Maliki Madhab, or school of jurisprudence, as a central component of Moroccan identity. In the aftermath of the 2011 constitutional reforms, emphasis was also placed on the necessity of promoting inclusive narratives, particularly those highlighting inclusive citizenship. Now, the January 2016 Marrakesh Conference on the Rights of Minorities in predominantly Muslim-majority communities endorsed the official narrative of religious tolerance upheld by the state, marking thus a significant achievement in the continuous discourse on minority rights in Muslim-majority countries. Morocco consequently pledged to redefine the concept of citizenship in a more encompassing and inclusive way. The conference also came as a response to the persecution against ethnic and religious minorities in Muslim-majority contexts by violent extremist groups associated with the so-called ISIS or ISIL. Hundreds of Shia and Sunni scholars, religious leaders, and clergy attended the conference, which culminated finally in the drafting of the Marrakesh Declaration. Among the declaration's proposals was the development of constitutional laws grounded on the historic Charter of Medina, a form of contractual citizenship that was formed by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in the 7th century to ensure the equal treatment of all in the multi-religious society of Medina. Led by the religious scholar Sheikh Abdullah bin Bayya and affirmed by 42 governments, including Morocco, the declaration stressed the need for urgent cooperation among various segments of Muslim-majority societies to protect minority rights based on a legal framework for equal citizenship as an Islamic principle. This framework, bin Bayya argues, is in harmony with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. However, the Marrakesh Declaration raises significant concerns about how consistent its provisions are with contemporary human rights principles. In particular, it can be interpreted as creating a social and political hierarchy between Muslims and non-Muslims, which would justify discrimination and unequal rights. In addition, the declaration asserts its support for religious freedom as guaranteed by the nation's recently adopted constitution. Although the 2011 constitution states that Islam is the official state religion, it also claims to guarantee freedom of thought, expression, and assembly and free exercise of belief to everyone. However, the Marrakesh Declaration raises concerns about its effectiveness as a conduit for critically addressing issues such as the growing internal religious diversities that challenge the dominant Muslim Sunni Maliki paradigm and the state's monopoly over the religious field. While the Moroccan state has recognized the freedom of religion for Jewish people and foreign Christians, the rest of Moroccan religious minorities, namely Christians, Shiites, and Baha'is, or even non-religious actors, according to the State Department International Religious Freedom Reports, have been persecuted, pressured by the authorities to renounce their faiths, and have had nowhere to practice their beliefs. According to the aforementioned reports, Moroccan Christians, Baha'is, and thousands of Shiites suffer from discrimination as they are considered as minorities in a country where 99% of the population is composed of Sunni Muslims. In the same context, human rights organizations and local Christian leaders reported that in March 2016, several Moroccan Christians were detained and questions about their beliefs and contacts with other Christians, and some of them were even forced to abandon their faiths. In this regard, one may wonder if the declaration is a call for religious freedom or just a call or a declaration on religious minorities. If religious freedom is understood as the right of the individual to criticize religion, convert to another religion, or become non-religious, then these rights are not part of the Marrakesh Declaration. Up till now, the declaration, as if emphasized by Peterson and Mufta 2017, seems to have lacked means for follow-up and execution. In the same line of thought, Garba 2018 affirms that the document appears to overlook the provision of clear definitions for terms like contractual citizenship and minority religion within the framework of a progressively diverse contemporary society. The current state-level discussion on minority rights not only shapes the identities of religious minorities, but also fails to enact laws that ensure complete protection of personal and religious freedoms. This encompasses the right to change or abandon one's religion, aspects clearly not addressed in the Marrakesh nor the Abu Dhabi declarations. The Marrakesh Declaration should also be interpreted in the broader context of the war on terror and the devised concept of moderate Islam. This concept is positioned against extremism and articulated in ambiguous language that serves to marginalize expressions falling outside of officially endorsed perspectives. In the latter case, the religious experiences of Moroccans are reduced into a binary of Sunni Maliki and diverse Muslim. Instead of relying on the diversity of religious practice, this binary labels individuals as moderate or extremist to suppress religious heterogeneity. Consequently, diverse expressions persist in negotiating the balance between adhering to established structures and opposing them, thus concurrently creating alternative avenues for self-expression. It might be therefore appropriate to mention that the concept of contractual citizenship can hardly be concretized in a Muslim majority context where local religious minorities continue to face legally sanctioned discrimination. The initiative to implement the legal framework of the Marrakesh Declaration can therefore be viewed as ambiguous and utopian, since it only tries to project an idealistic image of coexistence, tolerance, and respect for diversity with no political will to materialize it. The principles and objectives of interreligious engagement for human fraternity and inclusive citizenship were equally articulated in the 2019 document on human fraternity issued by the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh At-Tayyib, and Pope Francis. In this joint declaration, a similar stance was taken on citizenship by both religious figures, stating that the inclusive citizenship model seeks to guarantee equal rights and duties for all individuals, irrespective of their religious or non-religious affiliation, along with an effective engagement in public life. However, reducing the concept of full citizenship to a simple call for equality of rights and duties does not necessarily guarantee the rights of subaltern religious groups such as the non-Muslim Maliki subjectivities in Morocco. Such ingrown religious groups still contend with the lingering repercussions of being marginalized and not having official recognition by the state. These groups face restrictions in getting registered as religious organizations, and they are also barred from legally assembling for religious rituals or establishing associations that would allow them to conduct lawful activities. The post-Arab Spring reforms are nonetheless giving rise to a novel political and social subjectivity. This emerging dynamic challenges the established public sphere and creates what is referred to by Fraser 1990 as subaltern counter-publics that actively undermine prevailing hegemonic ideologies. Nancy Fraser defines the concept of counter-publics as, I quote, parallel discursive arenas where members of subordinated social groups invent and circulate counter-discourses which in turn permit them to formulate oppositional interpretations of their identities, interests, and needs. The formation of the National Coalition of Moroccan Christians in this regard marked a significant initiative by the Moroccan Christian community to cease practicing their faith covertly, a practice that they had engaged in for quite a long period. Subsequently, the coalition opted to formally engage with the National Human Rights Council. Mustafa Susi, the coalition spokesperson, affirmed that the demands included freedom of worship and the official recognition of churches in the country. Susi added that the demands comprised the right to give their children Christian names and the right to have their own cemeteries. Susi also appraised the meeting as favorable, viewing it as the initial step towards a dialogue between Christian converts and the Moroccan government. Nevertheless, the council did not make any explicit commitment, and the same concerns were expressed on the YouTube channel Moroccan and Christian, Maghribi Masihi. This YouTube channel was initiated by Moroccan Christians, namely Brother Rashid, who is a host of an evangelical Christian TV program, and a few others. This channel is described as a platform where diverse Moroccan Christians enable their visibility, discuss their faith, respond to inquiries about their patriotism, and dispel misconceptions about their community. A few months after the Marrakesh Declaration was launched, the few videos on the YouTube channel Moroccan and Christian sparked much controversy and created more divided reactions among Moroccan citizens. Such videos display Moroccan men and women sharing their stories of conversion to Christianity in a relatable Moroccan Arabic and recounting the various stigmas that come along with the process. They also show their discontent with the governmental harassment and continuous societal and familial pressure. Such public testimonies challenge the prevalent notion that being Moroccan is synonymous with being Muslim, and that all Christians residing in Morocco are outsiders rather than locals. One notable female figure in the YouTube channel is Iman, a second-generation Christian who openly declares her religious beliefs and takes pride in being a Moroccan Christian but not a foreigner. Affirming a deep connection to her Moroccan identity and expressing allegiance to the King of Morocco, Iman adds, I quote, "Christ taught me to love and respect the King and pray for him. Christ also taught me to be a good citizen," end of quote. Iman, therefore, emphasizes that Moroccan Christians do not seek to overturn laws, but rather aim to create opportunities for gradual change through peaceful expression. Iman further went on to voice her disapproval of the state's unclear endorsement of democracy, equality, and freedom, particularly when it comes to, I quote, civil rights as the celebration of civil marriages, the establishment and operation of cemeteries, to name but a few, end of quote. Iman instead envisions a Moroccan society where everyone feels secure in choosing, discussing, and living their faith freely. Using YouTube as an open, democratic, virtual platform, the Christian activists not only challenge state monopoly over information in the religious field, but they also heighten social and religious awareness by focusing on national unity and identity. In this sense, the new technologies, as emphasized by Lynch 2013, are used as a tactful tool, quote, to shift the overall control of the public sphere from state-controlled media to social media, end of quote. Clearly, social media provide a suitable environment for Moroccan religious minorities to mobilize, voice their dissent, and demand recognition as individuals who have the capacity to achieve their religious as well as social and political rights. Am I still on time? 5 minutes. Okay, thanks. Such digital platforms, therefore, become a space of expression that bolster the roles of misrepresented religious groups in shaping new performances of citizenship. In this regard, acts of citizenship, to quote John's 2014, are suggestive of performances that bypass broader institutional patterns to construct new political subjectivities that are oriented toward social justice. To conclude, the implementation of the equal or full citizenship legal framework as evoked in both declarations cannot be attained without a certain degree of state acceptance of ingrown religious diversities, or maybe non-religious diversities. The concept of inclusive citizenship can be effectively addressed by combining full citizenship and what Margaret Davies, 2010, calls legal pluralism to provide optimal opportunities for managing religious diversity. The primary goal of legal pluralism is not centered on addressing religious minority concerns, but rather on effectively navigating cultural and legal diversity. It achieves this by granting all citizens, not just those belonging to minorities, the ability to regulate the same legal relationships based on their individual convictions. Thank you so much.